The Undateables at 9 after 2 addicts. One loves takeaways, the other drinks so much cola he often forgets to eat. It's Supersize versus Superskinny, which features the effects of eating disorders and obesity.
Tonight, Dr. Christian heads to America's fattest city, where type 2 diabetes is reaching epidemic proportions.
30% of our population has diabetes.
And fast food fan Craig will be swapping diets with cola addict Simon. They'll be entering Dr. Christian's feeding clinic in order to ditch their disastrous diets.
To think that I eat that amount at lunchtime.
It's way too much.
And in her ongoing investigation into eating disorders, former anorexia sufferer and journalist Emma Wolfe meets a young mum whose anorexia began during pregnancy.
I felt so guilty, and instead of it driving me to put weight on, it sort of made me want to self-punish more.
Welcome to Supersize versus Superskinny. Britain is facing an obesity crisis, but in the USA things are even worse. To find out more, Dr. Christian's in McAllen, America's fattest city, where almost 40% of people are clinically obese. Obesity is a primary cause of type 2 diabetes, and it's estimated that in the US there are over 23 million sufferers. That's over 7% of the population. Here in the UK, there are 3.5 million sufferers. That's 5% of the population.
It's a condition which, if poorly controlled, can cause horrendous complications like nerve damage, heart and kidney disease, stroke, and even blindness. And here at Doctors Hospital, they're seeing an ever-increasing number of patients with precisely those sorts of complications.
To learn more, Dr. Christian meets with Dr. Twahira.
Nice to meet you. So you work here in the Diabetes Centre. Is diabetes a particular problem here in McAllen?
Almost 30% of our population has diabetes.
And why is that?
The rise of diabetes has followed exactly the rise of the prevalence of obesity.
What on earth are you going to do about this?
We can focus on what we can change, which is eating habits and exercising.
Dr. Christian wants to meet some of Dr. Twahira's patients, including 38-year-old 40-stone Jose.
Jose.
Hello.
I'm Christian. Nice to meet you.
Jose's come in for a checkup on a foot ulcer, a common result of type 2 diabetes.
So this ulcer's been here how long then?
4 months.
4 months. And is it getting better?
Yes.
Slowly?
Slowly, but like I'm controlling my sugars more or less. It's helping with the healing process.
Now you've got your insulin sorted
Yes.
out. It's probably a bit better, isn't it?
Although Jose's foot is now healing, wounds like this can lead to amputation. In fact, diabetes worldwide results in 1.5 million amputations a year.
So this was a lot bigger than that, was it?
Definitely, yes, was a lot bigger.
And it looks nice and clean, and you can see all that fresh tissue is starting to grow over and close over.
Yeah, and looks much smaller.
And diabetes can also damage the body's vital organs.
And tell me, how are your kidneys and how are your eyes?
There's signs of damage. My heart showing stress, like my eyesight, my kidneys. But I'm not to the point where I need dialysis yet.
Good.
It's an ugly process, you know. It's once you have diabetes, it's real hard. All my uncles, my dad, they all died from complications of diabetes. All my families died from it.
And type 2 diabetes doesn't just affect older people. Dr. Christian pays a visit to Carolina. She's only 15 years old and now has to inject herself daily with insulin.
What's your name?
Carolina.
Carolina, nice to meet you. Can I sit down here? All right, I'm going to come and interrupt your appointment, so carry on.
Okay, so how are you doing since I saw you a few days ago? In terms of your sugars, how are they? Are they better? So you said that you're now sleeping throughout the night. You're not getting up to go to the restroom, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And do you think you're going to be able to change your life a little bit, change your lifestyle a bit to try and make this better?
Yes.
You do? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna watch what I eat and check myself correctly.
If you work hard, you watch your diet, you lose a few pounds, I'm confident you can get off insulin. There's no doubt about it.
Diabetes at your age, when you're a teenager, is really unfair. But if you can work as hard as you can and really stick to what you're supposed to be doing, it may be that you don't have to inject yourself so much anymore and things get better in the future.
Here in the UK, the NHS spends £10 billion a year on diabetes.
There you go, you're in. OK, home time.
This represents 10% of our health service budget, but it's projected to rise to 17% within a generation.
Seeing the Diabetes Centre in action has really shown me that these doctors have got their work cut out for them. And it's distressing to hear that many of their patients are in their teens or are even younger. And the numbers of these patients are ever increasing. What's frustrating is that much of type 2 diabetes is lifestyle related, and that means that their current situation and the future prognosis is actually in the hands of the patients. And when you're asking patients to change lifestyles, that is very difficult indeed.
On a mission to bring back to Britain lessons learned in the States, Dr. Christian's confronting dietary abuse at both ends of the scale. He's exposing these supersizers and super skinnies to their opposites.
My feeding clinic doors are open once again. I'll be swapping Supersize with Super Skinny to help them come together and see food as their friend and no longer as the enemy. Craig, come on over. So Craig, for your diet swap, you are going to be paired with Simon.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So what do you weigh yourself?
Around 8.5 to 9 stone.
Jeez, my left leg weighs about that.
How much do you like full fat cola?
I don't.
About 10 bottles a day I go through.
Oh well. Thanks for that.
He is all belly, isn't he? I mean, he does have quite a large belly on there.
For a skinny guy like that to take in so much liquid, where does it go for a start? Good luck, and hope it all goes well.
Yep, you too.
Craig is a man who loves his routine, but his regular meals and snacks means that he's eating up to 7 times a day, whereas Simon has no routine at all, and food always takes second place to fizzy drinks. I think I'm really going to have my work cut out for me teaching these two some healthier habits.
Weighing in at 24 stone 12, 30-year-old Craig Nellies from Fife is a fast food addict who goes global when it comes to his taste buds.
The kind of food I love is takeaway. Could say I'm a man of international taste, whether it's British, Chinese, Italian, Indian, American. Either one's good for me.
Meal times for Craig are always perfectly timed.
You could set your clock by the times I eat. At 8, I have my toast with my soft cheese. At 10:30, I have my bacon rolls. At 1 o'clock, I have my lunch. 6 o'clock, I have my dinner. 10 o'clock, I'll have my late night snack. I know that it's unhealthy and I shouldn't be eating as much of it as I do, but it tends not to play on my mind that much.
Craig's food-fixated routine has become a little too comfortable.
I would very much say I'm a couch potato. I'll sit back and watch TV for hours at a time, snacking away on crisps or chocolate biscuit. At the weekends I can do that all day.
If Craig goes on a healthy calorie-controlled diet, it'll help his wife Sarah too, because at the moment they're a bad influence on each other.
Since I've been married, I've gained on average about 1 stone a year.
I think definitely Craig's stuck in a rut. I think he has a routine where we get up, we go to work, we come home, we have dinner, we watch telly, we go to bed.
These bad habits are affecting the future of the Nellies family tree.
We really want to start a family as soon as we can, and at the moment it's playing on my mind that my weight could be causing problems and hindering that.
Whilst Craig's excessive eating is increasing his body mass, the opposite is true of our super skinny. Weighing only 9 stone, Simon Takacs has a sticky problem.
I would typically drink about 4 litres of cola a day. I'd say I've been drinking it heavily, probably for the last 7, 8 years.
Each morning, breakfast is bottle-shaped.
For breakfast, I have 2 bottles of cola. For my lunch, I'll have either a salad or sandwich, still drinking colas. I spend my evenings at home, 9 times out of 10 watching TV with my housemate, Rachel.
What are you having?
Pizza.
Again.
As usual. I do actually like food, yes. But I think my problem is obviously because I drink so much cola that fills me up, so I don't really rely too much on food.
Couch potato Simon is too lazy to eat and has lost 4 stone in 4 years. And this is not good for his self-esteem.
I believe I'm a shell of a man because obviously I see everybody else around me a lot bulkier, a lot bigger. My weight definitely affects my confidence, mostly approaching new people, females, definitely.
Simon does find the energy to have a kickabout once a week.
I buy a small bottle of energy drink to play football and then I'm back on the cola. It's definitely affecting my appearance. It's making me look really gaunt. It's affecting every part of me, to be honest.
Before Supersize and Superskinny enter the feeding clinic, Dr. Christian wants to show Craig how worrying his diet really is by sending him to America to meet someone whose quality of life has been almost destroyed by overeating.
When I look in the mirror, I see a monster. I don't see a human being. I don't see a normal person. I see a beast looking back at me.
Coming up, Craig gets an insight into what life could be like if he carries on overeating.
I used to make love with my wife several times a week. Now, it's barely ever that I'm able to.
And back in the UK, Dr. Christian shows Simon the damage his cola habit is doing to his body.
And I'm just going to show you what phosphoric acid does to human teeth. You will slowly erode away your teeth.
On tonight's show, skeletal Simon Takacs, who's too lazy to eat and instead just drinks cola, and corpulent Craig Nellies, who likes to eat and eat and eat. But before our Supersizer and Superskinny enter the feeding clinic, Dr. Christian is sending Craig to the land of plenty to show him what could be in store if he carries on with his current lifestyle. Craig is meeting 36-stone Thomas Ammons.
When I look in the mirror, I see a monster. I don't see a human being.
Thomas lives in Glenville, Georgia, and has piled on an incredible 15 stone in the last 5 years.
When I was younger, I was always taught that a good little boy finishes what he eats, and so we were always taught a good boy ate a lot. All the kids made fun of me. They always loved to make fun of me. Some of the ways I've tried to lose weight can last 2 days. Some can last 3 months. Sometimes I feel the full feeling before I finish, but it goes back to when I was younger. I have to finish that plate because otherwise that's leftover food.
Thomas has been married to Amber for 5 years. They have 2 young children.
I'm very limited at what I can do during the day. My wife has to really do a lot of the stuff that a normal husband should be able to do. I used to make love with my wife several times a week. Now, it's barely ever that I'm able to.
Thomas is taking Craig back to his place to give him an idea of his lifestyle.
This is my house, this is my table and chairs. Can't really sit in these chairs anymore.
So you wouldn't sit there to eat?
Nah, I can't sit here at all, actually, because the last time I sat in one of these chairs, it broke into about 50 pieces.
Wow.
Like many overweight people, Thomas has sleep apnea, a condition that causes interrupted breathing during sleep.
Have you ever been tested for sleep apnea?
I've been to my local doctor about it, and they reckon I may have signs of it.
If Thomas doesn't wear this oxygen mask at night, he could stop breathing.
It's very uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. It takes a lot of getting used to.
I can imagine.
You just slip this over your head. And...
Yeah, it's not comfortable at all. I'm hoping By losing the weight, I may not get to the stage where I'm going to need one of these. That's the plan anyway.
That's the best plan.
Thomas's poor health makes it almost impossible for him to play with his children.
Watching him sit there and watching his kids running around and I'm not being able to get involved is obviously very hard for him. You can see that he wants to be involved, but he just physically can't. And I can't imagine how difficult that must be for him.
And Thomas's problems don't stop there. He's about to drop a sobering bombshell.
Thomas, so how old are you?
I'm 24.
24.
My doctor says I might not make it to 30.
Right. The fact that he's been told that he may not live to 30, which is the age I am at the moment, is a big shock and a punch almost to say that if you don't change your lifestyle, you could end up in the same situation.
The biggest threat to Thomas's life expectancy is his appalling diet. And when they hit a local restaurant, it's easy to see why.
So what are these things? That's fish.
How do you get all of that in one plate?
But unknown to Craig, Dr. Christian has jetted in to check our Supersizer is getting the wake-up call he needs.
Looking at Craig's food diary, it's interesting. He's not really an emotional eater. He's really got into a habit of grazing continually. It's going to be difficult to get him off that sort of food addiction, but that's exactly what he's going to need to do. He's going to need to find something else to fill his time instead of eating. Well, well, well. What do we have here?
Oh, hello.
Well, hello there. How are you, Craig?
I'm very well.
What have I caught you at? Huh? Thomas?
Hello.
Nice to meet you. I'm Christian. Thank you for looking after him for me.
You're welcome.
Thomas, tell me a little bit about your story first.
As far back as I can remember, I've always been overweight.
Mm.
A lot of emotional eating and a lot of overeating just to eat.
Do you think you're an emotional eater?
I don't think I am. I think I'm just lazy and in a rut at the moment.
I think I would agree with you. Having had a look at your food diaries and listened to your story, I'd say you're a vacuum cleaner rather than an emotional eater. You eat because it's there.
It's there, yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Leaving Thomas to finish up, Dr. Christian takes Craig off for a private word.
I hope you've realised, actually, things are not in any way, shape or form as bad for you.
No, it's a wake-up call.
And it's going to be a lot easier.
In two ways, it's given me the confidence that I'm not yet that bad and there's a road back for me. Right, Thomas.
Right, we're back. And I'm going to say my goodbyes. Thomas, thank you so much for doing this.
No problem.
Do you remember what I said about little changes?
Yes, sir.
It's easier than you think. And I'll see you back in England.
Thank you.
All right, good luck with everything.
Thank you.
I'll leave you to it. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye. Yeah, meeting Thomas has made me see what I don't want to be in the future. And really given me the impetus to carry on what I've started here.
My message to Craig is next time you reach to get bad foods, remember me. Remember where I'm at, because that could be you.
Back in Blighty, and Craig's resolution to eat less is about to be put to the test, as Dr. Christian has checked Supersize and Superskinny into his feeding clinic, where they'll swap diets and be confronted by what they eat, when they eat, and why they eat it. Will the next 48 hours be feast or famine for our boys? Weighing in at just 9 stone, Simon is an erratic eater, always skipping breakfast and often lunch too, replacing it with cola.
Simon, hi. Very nice to see you. Come and have a seat for me. You eat a bit like a teenager, don't you?
I would say so, yes.
And you keep yourself going with the sugar and the caffeine.
Yes.
In your diary that you kept for me for the week, you did not have a single bit of fruit or vegetable in it over the entire week. Now, if you were 6 years old, I'd expect that, but you're 26 years old.
I know.
From a health point of view, you are heading for trouble.
Yes.
And you're heading for trouble quite soon.
More than twice the size of Simon, Craig is a colossal 24 stone 12. Every day he consumes 4,639 calories, almost double the amount an average man requires.
What's going to be your main incentive, do you think, for getting things right this time?
Main incentive for me To get it right this time is I want to start a family.
From a point of view of fertility, obesity does affect fertility. It affects sperm quality, but it also affects your hormone levels as well. And on your blood test that we did, your testosterone levels are slightly under, just slightly, not massively. Your risk factors are all, apart from your genetics and who your parents were, are all changeable, okay? And this would be a great way to change that, all right?
It's time for Craig and Simon to swap diets. Breakfast is Craig's usual double whammy.
Suppose I better give it to you.
Of 2 pieces of toast, thickly spread with cream cheese, a brace of bacon rolls, diet cola and tea, versus 1 glass of full-fat cola, which Craig doesn't even like.
I was just wondering why I got a knife and fork.
This would normally be like maybe a dinner or something.
I used to drink full-fat cola myself, but then I found it was leaving like an aftertaste in my mouth.
Shockingly, these 2 bacon butties alone contain the total recommended daily salt intake.
Starting to struggle now?
Yeah, trying to make sure I eat as much as possible. It's to the point where I've got food in my mouth and I can't physically swallow.
That's a good point to stop, I would say. I'm finding it quite difficult to drink a large amount, because it's so sweet as well.
I think I'm going to have to stop here.
Yeah?
I feel fat.
Me too.
I obviously took 1 bite out of that last bacon butty and it just wasn't going down.
A bit apprehensive about what lunchtime might bring. I don't think another glass of cola is going to cut it, really.
Lunchtime arrives and it's not just 1 glass of full-fat cola, it's 2, accompanied by crisps and a cereal bar for Craig, versus a sandwich, crisps, chocolate and diet cola for Simon.
There we go, sir. Enjoy yours.
That's 1 down, halfway there.
Like I say, I don't know what that's doing to my insides.
Well, Dr. Christian knows exactly what drinking this amount of cola is doing to Simon's insides, and he's about to reveal to him how much he gets through in a year.
360 litres of cola drinks, 52 litres of energy drinks you're getting through each year.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. But all of this on top of your, let's face it, appalling diet is a recipe for disaster. One of the components that I'm concerned about in these drinks is sugar. You are getting an awful lot of sugar. Do you know how much?
No.
In a year, just from the fizzy drinks that you're drinking, you're getting through 57 kilograms of the stuff, 114 bags of sugar. That's quite a lot.
Quite a lot, yes.
Come over here to this table with me. I'm going to show you something else.
Dr. Christian is about to reveal how extreme concentrated amounts of the chemicals found in cola can cause real damage to teeth.
Over here, I have phosphoric acid. This is one of the components in cola drinks. It's what gives it that sort of tangy, citrusy taste almost. So, Simon, here I've got some teeth, human teeth, real human teeth, and I'm just going to show you what phosphoric acid does to human teeth. Watch this.
The acid reacts with the enamel on the tooth and causes erosion.
Now, this acid is much more concentrated than the acid you'd get in cola, but over time, continually washing around your mouth with cola, which is essentially what you're doing, you will slowly erode away your teeth.
And Dr. Christian hasn't finished yet.
Come over here, then. I've got a lovely picture for you.
I thought mine were bad.
Why'd you say that?
I've got a tooth back here that is literally crumbling. I've got a lot of gaps in my teeth which are now blackened.
What do you think all this white, gungy, horrible-looking stuff there is?
I have no idea.
That's called plaque.
Right.
And that's essentially a reaction between bits of food and bacteria that's stuck all around your teeth like that. And it's that plaque, really, that's responsible for the gradual erosion at the same point. But that really, I hope, is a little bit of a warning for you as to why high-sugar, high-acid drinks are not really a great idea.
My teeth look bad as it is, but you know, if they looked any worse like that, I wouldn't even work. I would just stay at home and, don't know, rock myself to sleep.
Coming up, Dr. Christian's in America, investigating what can happen when a patient is too large for normal hospital equipment.
We would transport them across the street and take them to the Houston Zoo, the CT scanner.
You're kidding.
In the feeding clinic, Simon's on the right track.
Done. High five.
And journalist and former anorexia sufferer Emma Wolfe meets a young mum who, like a growing number of women, developed anorexia during pregnancy.
I felt so guilty, and instead of it driving me to put weight on, it sort of made me want to self-punish more.
On tonight's show, fast food fan Craig and cola addict Simon are in the feeding clinic. So far, Craig has coped well with just full-fat cola, crisps and a cereal bar, and Simon has eaten most of a hearty breakfast and lunch. But it's all about to change. Next up, dinner.
Oh dear. I'm sorry.
After waiting all day for some hot food, Craig's meal is crackers.
At least it's not cola. Changed it up a bit. Why would you have biscuits for your dinner?
On my very bad days, I just snack. I just feel a bit extra sorry for you, that's all.
I wouldn't. Look what you've got to eat.
Yeah, I know. I don't like fish or chips.
It's not just fish and chips, it's Craig's hallmark double fish and chips with bread and butter and Diet Cola.
I cannot stand potatoes whatsoever. It's one of those weird things that I got, but
Really struggling.
It's very, very greasy.
I do like biscuits. That's a bonus. Yeah.
This fish is really not for me.
I think he built himself up so much that he was going to be eating something that he didn't like and it was going to make him sick. He convinced himself he was going to be sick before he even put it in his mouth.
I had to make a mad dash for the sink. I must admit, that's probably one of the most eventful dinners I've ever had.
Knowing that it's going to be this time tomorrow again, before there's certainly a chance of me having potentially a cooked meal. So that's kind of playing on my mind a little bit just now.
The intensity of the feeding clinic is beginning to have the desired effect on Simon. And there's still 24 hours to go. Day 2, and it's a liquid start to the day for Craig, with 1 glass of full-fat cola versus another pair of bacon butties, toast and tea for Simon.
I'm struggling a bit, though, with energy. Though, I mean, I don't know if that's just my brain telling me because I haven't had any of my magic juice.
Last night, Simon couldn't keep anything down, but at this meal, he's determined to eat and digest the entire plateful.
Done. High five. Suppose I'll just finish this off as well.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you feel?
I feel like a supersized.
But having completed one of Craig's mammoth breakfasts, only too soon, it's lunchtime. And it's burger, chips, crisps, plus a chocolate bar and a Diet Cola for Simon, compared to just a sandwich and an energy drink for Craig. Finally, this diet swap is shocking Craig into realising how enormous his portions are.
It's not until you see somebody else consuming what you would normally consume that it kind of opens your eyes to how much it actually is.
This meal is loaded with saturated fat, which can increase blood cholesterol and is a risk factor for heart disease.
I'm waving the white flag.
Nothing else. To see that amount, to think that I eat that at lunchtime, which is pretty much an evening meal.
Yeah, that's massive.
A lunch is supposed to be what you gave me here.
Yeah.
It seems the penny has finally dropped for Craig. We'll catch up with our boys in the feeding clinic later. In this series, author, journalist and former anorexia sufferer Emma Wolfe is meeting people with eating disorders, finding out how they became ill and how they got help.
I know only too well the devastation that eating disorders can bring. As a journalist, I want to take a look inside this world and find out what's really going on. And I think having been through it myself, it kind of gives me a license to ask some of the questions that other people might not think to ask.
Emma will also be meeting practitioners and unearthing up-to-the-minute research on a wide range of conditions, including a growing number of women developing anorexia whilst pregnant. Every year, approximately 12,000 women will develop anorexia or bulimia during pregnancy. Throughout her eating disorder, Emma was unable to contemplate having a baby.
My period stopped around the age of 20, and they didn't come back until last year.
Emma's desire to start a family was a key factor in her own recovery. She's on her way to meet mother of two, Amy. Amy's anorexia developed when she was expecting her first child. Emma wants to find out how anorexia affects pregnancy and how pregnancy can trigger an eating disorder.
Tell me about sort of how your anorexia started.
It started when I was pregnant with my son, my first child. I started binging and purging a lot.
So when you got pregnant the first time, it sort of... Did you start to get really anxious about your body?
Yeah, putting weight on and
Putting weight on, yeah.
Then after I had him, I started to diet a lot, and that's when I started to lose a lot of weight. And that continued then throughout my second pregnancy as well.
Throughout the second pregnancy, her eating disorder spiralled out of control, threatening the life of her unborn daughter.
My daughter wasn't growing. I had to go and have scans and blood tests every fortnight.
Did you not think, what am I doing? The baby needs food for me to...
I did have odd days where I could be strong and I'd eat a little bit more, but I was surviving on a couple of yoghurts and probably a cupcake or a couple of biscuits a day. Anorexic thoughts were that strong at that time that even like mother instinct didn't overpower them.
Amy's body had been left devastated by her anorexia and left her with very little strength.
I was in labour for around 3 days. I was just so weak, I couldn't physically push her out. But in the end, she did come out, and when she came out, she was blue, and I panicked. I thought I killed her, I thought she was dead. And she came out like a little 4-pound dot, she's tiny. I felt so guilty. And instead of it driving me to put weight on, it sort of made me want to self-punish more. I got to a really low point in January where I tried to commit suicide.
Following an overdose, Amy was placed in a local psychiatric hospital and then sent to an eating disorder hospital. Separated from her partner and 2 children for months at a time, Amy was forced to change her life. Her family became her sole motivation to get better.
Even though I was hit rock bottom, there was a part of me that still wanted to get well because I knew I had the children to live for.
That's the part of you that's still fighting now to get better for them?
Yeah.
What about being a mum with anorexia? Do you find that it's difficult to cook for the children? Do you find that... Are you worried about passing on any food anxieties to them?
I do make sure that they eat at meal times and they have good meals and stuff like that.
What's your favourite breakfast? Pancakes!
Amy is slowly increasing her food intake, and her doctor prescribes high-energy drinks. Driven by the love for her children, she's now on the road to recovery.
And so what's kind of in terms of the future? Is it just focusing on putting on more weight now, or...?
Well, since then I've put on 2 stone at home.
Really?
So I'm hoping to put on a little bit more so I'm at a healthy weight.
Yeah.
And then just to continue living my life and be free of it.
To find out why women like Amy develop anorexia during pregnancy, Emma's visiting clinician scientist Dr. Nadia Makali, who specialises in this field.
So this is roughly what a baby of a woman with anorexia nervosa would look like in terms of being at the same gestational age of a baby from a healthy woman, but being much smaller in weight.
So much smaller. It's shocking, isn't it, to see? What are the triggers for developing an eating disorder during pregnancy?
What the few studies that have been done have shown is that maybe the weight gain during pregnancy might trigger some women who might be predisposed to develop an eating disorder, to develop a full-blown eating disorder during and after pregnancy.
So what would you recommend women to do if they're worried about possibly having a baby, or if they're already pregnant and they think they may have an eating disorder?
I think it's very important that women know that they can ask for help. Eating disorders are, like other illness, treatable, and they can be treated.
So meeting Dr. McCarley has made me more aware than ever that you need to be healthy, you know, mentally recovered, but also physically recovered, because it has real long-term implications for your baby, for yourself. It's a lifelong thing, and it isn't just about getting enough weight to get pregnant. It's about having enough weight to be a really healthy, happy mum, to have a healthy, happy baby.
If you're pregnant and suffering from an eating disorder, or you know someone who could be, please contact your GP, or for more information, visit channel4.com/supersize. Back at the feeding clinic, where Craig has successfully scaled down his eating and Simon has started putting away proper portions. It's the Last Supper, and on the menu is pizza. Supersize versus super skinny.
What do you think is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself?
It's probably coping without cola. The biggest thing.
The biggest thing for me was like just noticing the portion sizes. I mean, seeing my portion sizes in front of you. Temptation is always going to be out there.
Yes.
Weekends when you're out, going to the football, for example, half-time, you go up and have your...
burger or
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's things that you don't think twice about normally.
It's a temptation to slip back into my old habits and routines. It's temptation to slip back into cola. It's just willpower. I have to stay away from it.
I am enjoying this, though.
I'm glad. This is very nice as well. Probably a few more toppings on it than I would normally have. But, you know, I do enjoy my pizza, I must admit.
Simon and Craig's time inside the feeding clinic has served its purpose.
So guys, we're at the end of the diet swap. You will be relieved to hear, I think, and you're off home with your diet plans, which I have here for you. Craig, this one's yours. Simon, that one is yours.
Craig's diet plan will reduce his daily calorific intake from 4,639 calories a day to 2,500, the amount an average man needs. Craig's fat boy portions will be moderated, and he'll eat a balanced diet, cutting back on foods high in fat and sugar. Simon's diet will increase his food intake from 2,242 calories up to 2,700 calories. He'll cut down on the cola, swapping sugary drinks for high-fibre, starchy foods, such as bread, rice and pasta, so he'll be able to keep his energy levels up for longer. Both our boys have big challenges ahead, and we'll catch up with them in 2 months' time, when Dr. Christian will weigh up their progress.
Best of luck.
Good luck.
To you. Good luck, mate.
Across the Atlantic, Dr. Christian has been investigating how eating habits in America's current fattest city, McAllen, Texas, are likely to affect us in the UK.
I'm in the biggest and busiest hospital in McAllen, where 40% of the patients who come through its doors are obese, and the staff here are really bearing the brunt of a city in crisis.
The huge influx of supersized patients has meant that thousands of dollars of investment is now being diverted into non-medical equipment.
When you look at the doors, what you're looking at here and side by side, this is what we consider a 4.0 door or a 4-foot wide door. This is a standard door, which is a 3.0 or 3-foot wide door.
Yeah.
So actually, to install one of these doors, you're talking between $1,000 to $1,500, and we've replaced 7 of them in this facility already and need to replace 2 more.
Next, Dr. Christian visits a modified shower room.
This is actually bariatric shower chair. This will support up to 550 pounds, and you can see the size of it.
And this is a British problem too. £10 million is being spent by the NHS each year on equipment such as specialist beds, chairs and hoists to cope with overweight patients, a figure that has doubled in 3 years.
This is a standard wheelchair, approximately 26 inches in width. This is a bariatric wheelchair, was 10 inches wider. Thus, the reason we have to put the 4.0 doors in.
Well, something that I'm also interested in, I know your imaging department has had to change even the machinery. Can we go and have a look at some of those?
Follow me over here. This is our 64-slice scanner, CT scanner, one of the most modern pieces of equipment in the world. And what we've done to accommodate larger patients is we've actually ordered a unit with a larger opening. And even with the larger opening, if you look at me in comparison, you can see there's not a lot of room for a large patient.
Wow, I mean, me standing here, there's not a lot of room for me in there either, is there?
Not at all.
So what do you do?
Whenever we encounter a patient who exceeds either the weight limit or the size of the bore opening, we are unable to image that patient. So we cannot provide a diagnostic study. My training was back in Houston at the Texas Medical Center, and our answer for that problem is we would transport them across the street and take them to the Houston Zoo and actually image them at the zoo's CT scanner.
You're kidding. And so at what sort of cost to you was having to order a new scanner? I mean, what did a larger one of these cost you, roughly?
Replacing the CT scanner will exceed $1 million.
And even in the UK, it's been reported that patients over 30 stone have struggled with having CT scans.
This is really very worrying. In America, the healthcare system is funded in a different way, and a lot of places can afford to get new equipment. In England, where we have an NHS, we simply cannot afford to replace all the beds, all the loos, and particularly all these very expensive CT and MRI machines. I don't know what we're going to do.
It's been over 2 months since fast food fan Craig and cola addict Simon began their new healthy eating plans. But have they managed to keep to them?
I feel quite nervous about getting on the scales today. I mean, I'd love to see how well I've done.
I'm feeling a little bit nervous, but excited as well. I think I've done well, but you're never too sure until you get the final result.
Simon, hi.
Hello.
Very good to see you again.
Yes, you too.
Wow, you look very different.
Thank you.
In a good way.
Yes.
So you stuck to it?
I stuck
good, well done.
Literally to the book. And now I'm eating my set 3 meals a day. I'm eating plenty of fruits now, trying new things, different types of meats. I find myself eating more and more.
Have you noticed that despite eating more, you are more hungry as well?
I find myself getting really, really hungry.
Well, that's a really good sign, because it means you've finally woken up your metabolism. It's now up and running and efficiently burning off your energy. Cola, I think, was probably the biggest problem that I had to nag you about, wasn't it? Have you cut that down a bit?
I decided to have 1 a week as a treat after my meal. And, you know, I feel so much better for it now.
You look very different, and I suspect that's one of the main reasons why you look so different, actually. Your skin looks better.
And even though it's still very early on in my weight gain, I find myself so confident already. You know, I've even got myself a new girlfriend since the beginning of the show.
Excellent, wow.
Yeah, things couldn't be greater, more perfect right now.
Oh, wow, that's such a good thing to hear. Good, lovely to see you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Craig, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Very nice to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You're looking well.
Feel well.
You enjoyed a takeaway or two, shall we say?
I did, yep.
Didn't you? Still doing that, or managed to cut that down?
Pretty much cut it out completely. I've only had 2 since I started the diet, 2 takeaways in total. Most stuff I eat is fresh dinners, so it's grilled